There is a special kind of heartbreak that comes from meeting someone who felt important and then watching life move them out of reach before you could make sense of why they came at all. That ache is heavier than most people admit. It is not only about missing a person, it is about missing the meaning. It is about replaying timing in your mind and wondering whether you were too early, too late, too wounded, too hopeful, too open, or too much. It is about sitting with the strange feeling that someone touched your life deeply and yet nothing stayed the way you thought it would. And when that happens more than once, something inside you starts to tighten. You begin to question your own reading of people. You begin to wonder whether your heart is too trusting or whether life is simply careless with it. You tell yourself to be wiser. You tell yourself not to get attached so quickly. You tell yourself to be spiritual about it, to rise above it, to bless the lesson and move on. But underneath all of that, there is still a very human question whispering in you. Why did they come when they did? Why did it feel so real if it was not meant to last? Why would life send someone who opened something in you and then leave you holding all the feelings by yourself? That question can wear you out, not because you are weak, but because uncertainty is exhausting. The mind can tolerate pain more easily than it can tolerate confusion. Pain at least has a shape. Confusion keeps changing form. It keeps you bargaining with the past. It keeps you revisiting moments that cannot answer back. So let me say something clearly. Not everyone who arrives at the right moment arrives to remain. Some people come to hold up a mirror. Some come to interrupt a pattern. Some come to wake up a part of you that has been asleep for years. Some come to show you what you have been accepting, what you have been chasing, what you have mistaken for love, and what your soul has quietly outgrown. That does not make the connection fake. That does not make your feelings foolish. And it does not mean the universe was teasing you. It may mean the moment was right, even if the person was temporary. That is the paradox most people resist, because the heart likes to measure importance by duration. You assume that what mattered most should have lasted longest. You assume that what was right should have felt easy from start to finish. You assume that if someone truly belonged in your life, there would have been no ambiguity, no disruption, no loss. But life is not always that linear. Sometimes the right person for a moment is the one who reveals the truth you were finally ready to see. Not because they completed you, because they clarified you. And once you begin to understand that, something softens. You stop reading every departure as failure. You stop treating timing as punishment. You stop making every ending into proof that you were not chosen enough, good enough, healed enough, or lovable enough. You begin to ask a different question. Not why did they leave, but what did their arrival make impossible for you to keep ignoring? That question changes everything. Because the root of this pain is often not only loss, it is attachment to a fantasy of what the connection was supposed to become. It is the mind rushing ahead of reality. It is the nervous system grabbing onto intensity and calling it certainty. It is the heart confusing recognition with readiness. This happens so gently that you may not notice it at first. A person enters your life, something in you lights up. Maybe they understand a part of you others have missed. Maybe the conversation feels effortless. Maybe the timing feels uncanny. Maybe you were lonely when they appeared, tired when they appeared, cracked open when they appeared. And because of that, their presence does not just feel pleasant, it feels meaningful. Now that feeling is real, but real does not always mean permanent. And here is what most people miss. When you have been emotionally deprived, inconsistent attention can feel electric. When you have been trying to earn love for a long time, being seen even briefly can feel like destiny. When you have lived with uncertainty, a strong pull can feel more trustworthy than calm. You do not do this because you are foolish, you do it because you are human. The mind loves patterns, the heart loves hope, and the body often responds to familiarity before it responds to truth. That means you can feel deeply drawn to someone who activates an old wound, not because they are your future, but because they resemble a struggle your system already knows how to chase. This is why some connections feel urgent instead of peaceful. This is why you can think about someone all day and still know almost nothing solid about how they actually show up. This is why you and call something rare while your body is quietly begging for rest. Intensity is loud, alignment is quieter. Intensity says, do not lose this. Alignment says, notice how you feel when nothing is being forced. Intensity makes you monitor every message, every pause, every tiny shift in tone, like you are decoding ancient scripture from a 3-word text. Alignment does not make you become a detective in your own love life. It does not require emotional gymnastics. It does not keep you surviving on crumbs and calling it a feast because the plate looked promising for 5 minutes. And yes, sometimes your inner child will call any emotionally unavailable person mysterious when what you really need is a glass of water, a nap, and a better standard. That is the warm truth. You are not wrong for feeling deeply, but you do need a gentler way to understand what these arrivals are doing in your life. Otherwise, every meaningful encounter becomes a courtroom. You put the past on trial, you cross-examine every memory, you sentence yourself for hoping, and you walk away even more tired. So I want to offer you a simple framework for moments like this, a way to hold timing people and your own heart with more wisdom and less self-punishment. I call it the moment mirror method. 3 steps. Meet, notice, narrow. Meet is the first step. It means you allow yourself to acknowledge the connection honestly, without rushing to label it forever or dismiss it as nothing. A real meeting deserves truth, not fantasy, not denial. Truth. Notice is the second step. It means you pay attention to what the connection awakens in you, not only what you feel for them, but what you feel around them, what becomes louder in your body, what becomes obvious in your patterns, what old hunger starts speaking, what fresh clarity begins forming. Narrow is the third step. It means you gently reduce your focus from the grand story in your head to the actual evidence in front of you, not the potential, not the symbolism, not the chemistry alone, the evidence, what is mutual, what is consistent, what is nourishing, what is real. Meet. Notice. Narrow. That is not a productivity system. It is an act of emotional mercy. Because when you live this way, you stop collapsing into every connection. You stop inflating every spark into a prophecy. You stop treating uncertainty as romance. You stop abandoning yourself in order to remain open to someone else. Stay with me here because this can become very practical. Meet means you tell the truth at the beginning. If someone's presence affects you, admit it to yourself. You do not need to pretend indifference to seem evolved. You do not need to play small games with your own heart. You can simply say, "This matters to me. This person stirred something in me. This interaction opened a feeling." That honesty matters because self-deception creates more pain than almost any rejection ever could. But Meet also asks for restraint. It asks you not to build a cathedral out of a glance. It asks you not to turn one beautiful conversation into a lifelong spiritual merger before the universe has even finished its coffee. Feel what you feel, yes, but let reality breathe. A small experiment for this first step is very simple. When someone new enters your emotional world, pause and write 3 sentences. What do I actually know about this person? How do I actually feel after interacting with them? What story am I already starting to tell? Those 3 questions can save you from weeks of confusion. Because often the story begins long before the relationship does. Your mind fills in space with longing. Your body interprets chemistry as safety. Your hope starts decorating an empty room and calling it home. Then later, you are not only grieving a person, you are grieving the future you built around them. Now the second step. Notice. This is where so much wisdom lives. Notice asks you to shift attention from their behavior alone to your internal response. Do you feel calm or activated, expanded or contracted, clear or scrambled, soft in a grounded way or soft in a self-abandoning way? There is a difference. You can want someone and still feel uneasy. You can miss someone and still be unhealthy with them. You can feel drawn to someone and still know your nervous system is doing most of the talking. This step is powerful because your body often knows before your mind is willing to admit it. The stomach tightens, sleep changes. You start checking your phone with the devotion of a Victorian widow waiting for battlefield updates. Your peace becomes negotiable. Your self-respect starts trying to be flexible, which is usually how it politely announces that it is leaving the building. Notice does not judge you for this. It simply invites you to observe. Try this experiment. The next time you think about someone who feels important, stop for 10 seconds and ask, what does my body believe is happening right now? Not what your fantasy believes, not what your fear predicts. What does your body believe? Does it believe love is arriving? Does it believe danger is near? Does it believe it must perform, prove, chase, or hold on? Awareness changes the whole experience. Because once you see that a connection is activating scarcity, abandonment, or old confusion, you stop worshiping the feeling. You get curious about it instead. That curiosity is healing. And then comes narrow. This step is especially tender because it asks you to come back from the clouds. Narrow means you stop evaluating the connection by its emotional volume and begin evaluating it by its lived reality. Does this person communicate with honesty? Do they show up with steadiness? Do they make room for your humanity, or only for you our sparkle? Can you relax around what is true? Or are you constantly translating mixed signals into hopeful poetry? Narrow is not cold, it is loving. It protects your energy from becoming a full-time internship with no benefits. You do not need to solve every mystery. You do not need to stay available for every almost. You do not need to remain spiritually open to situations that leave you emotionally fragmented. Sometimes discernment is the most loving form of faith. A practical experiment here is to choose 1 week where you respond only to what is clear, not what could mean something, not what might improve, not what feels symbolically loaded. What is clear? Clear effort, clear care, clear reciprocity, clear honesty, and watch what happens to your mind when you stop feeding it ambiguity. For many people, something surprising happens. Relief. Not because you stop caring, because you stop spinning. And spinning is one of the quietest ways people suffer. They call it processing. Sometimes it is just pain wearing glasses and pretending to be insight. Now I know what you might be thinking. But what if the connection really was meaningful? Then this framework still holds. Meaningful does not mean you must cling. Meaningful does not mean you must decode every ending until it turns into a promise. Meaningful does not even mean the other person understood the role they played in your life. Some people participate in sacred timing without having the depth to stay for the whole chapter. That is not an insult. It is simply the truth of human limitation. A person can be significant and still not be suitable. A connection can be awakening and still not be aligned. Both things can be true at the same time. That is why your peace cannot depend only on who arrives. It has to deepen through how you interpret their arrival. You are allowed to receive the gift without forcing the package to remain on your table forever. You are allowed to bless what was revealed without building your identity around what did not continue. You are allowed to say, "This mattered, and it is complete." That is mature love. Not numbness, not cynicism, not pretending you never cared, just mature love. And this is the place where many people resist, because they still believe that letting go means minimizing what happened. It does not. Releasing something is not the same as rewriting it into irrelevance. Sometimes you let go precisely because it mattered. Sometimes you stop gripping because you finally understand the lesson has already landed. Maybe the person showed you how lonely you had become. Maybe they showed you how hungry you were to be chosen. Maybe they showed you how quickly you turn a little tenderness into a lifelong oath, because your heart has been thirsty for years. Maybe they showed you that calm felt unfamiliar because you were trained to read uncertainty as passion. Maybe they showed you that you have been trying to be lovable instead of allowing yourself to be known. All of that matters. All of that is sacred information. And none of it requires you to chase someone who is not meeting you in the same truth. There is another small practice that can help when your mind keeps circling the same person, the same ending, the same almost. Give the connection a role instead of giving it your whole identity. You can say, "This was the awakener. This was the mirror. This was the turning point. This was the chapter that showed me where I still confuse attention with care." You can also ask one very brave question. If this connection never becomes what I hoped, what is it still trying to teach me about the way I love? That question is powerful because it brings your energy back to the only place where real change happens, not inside their choices, inside your relationship with yourself. Maybe it teaches you to pause before attaching a future to a feeling. Maybe it teaches you that being chosen by someone unavailable still leaves you unavailable to yourself. Maybe it teaches you that the ache you blamed on them has roots that began long before they arrived. This is not blame, it is freedom. Because once the lesson returns to your own awareness, you are no longer standing outside your life waiting for one person to explain the chapter. You can participate in your own healing again. And healing here can be very small. You can decide that when their name enters your mind, you will not immediately follow it into fantasy. You can place a hand on your chest and ask, "What do I need right now that I keep hoping this person will give me?" Comfort, reassurance, certainty, permission to rest, a sense of being wanted. Then, just for a moment, offer a little of that back to yourself in a real form. A slower breath, a glass of water, a walk without your phone, a journal page where you tell the truth instead of performing strength. These things sound simple because they are simple, but simple does not mean small. Repeated tenderness changes people. This matters especially when your heart is tempted to make waiting feel noble. Waiting can look beautiful from a distance. It can feel loyal, deep, poetic, but sometimes waiting is only fear wearing a soft sweater. Sometimes it is the old belief that if you stay available long enough, your devotion will be rewarded with clarity. Sometimes that happens. Often, what actually changes your life is not waiting longer, it is seeing sooner. Seeing that your energy is sacred, seeing that confusion has a cost, seeing that peace is not a consolation prize. It is one of the clearest signs that you are no longer trying to build love on top of self-abandonment. That is why the right people at the right moment do more than excite you. They teach your whole system that safety and honesty can exist together. They do not demand that you choose between chemistry and calm. They do not ask you to become less truthful in order to keep hope alive. Even when the chapter is brief, something in you feels more awake, not more lost, more returned, not more erased. Notice that difference. It will save you years. So here is the permission you may have needed for a long time. You are allowed to stop turning every departure into a verdict on your worth. You are allowed to stop calling yourself too much because someone else was too limited. You are allowed to stop begging timing to explain itself in a language that will finally make your pain feel tidy. You are allowed to stop romanticizing confusion just because it came wrapped in chemistry, synchronicity, or beautiful words. You are allowed to stop performing patience for situations that ask you to shrink, guess, wait, and ache in silence. You are allowed to want what is mutual. You are allowed to want what is calm. You are allowed to want what does not require constant interpretation. Let me say that again in a way your heart might hear more deeply. You do not need to earn the right people by suffering well enough. You do not need to prove your spiritual maturity by staying soft in places that keep cutting you. You do not need to accept emotional fog as a sign that something profound is happening. Sometimes the most profound thing happening is your own awakening, your own clarity, your own refusal to confuse longing with guidance, your own decision to believe that what is meant for your life can arrive without making you abandon yourself in the process. That is not arrogance. That is self-respect, learning to breathe. And self-respect is not hard. It is not rigid. It is not cold. Real self-respect is deeply tender. It says, I will not bully myself into staying where my spirit feels split. I will not decorate inconsistency with spiritual language. I will not call my anxiety intuition just because I am afraid to release what I wanted. That last one matters, because sometimes you are not receiving intuition. Sometimes you are receiving withdrawal symptoms from an attachment that never got the chance to become real. Your body is grieving the hope, the projection, the almost. Of course it feels intense. Of course it aches. But intensity alone does not make it guidance. And sweetheart, not every cosmic sign is a marriage proposal from the universe. Sometimes it is just a lesson wearing a very attractive face and terrible communication skills. You're allowed to laugh a little there, not to mock your pain, to loosen its grip. Humor can be holy when it helps you come back to yourself. Because once you smile, even gently, you remember that your life is bigger than this one knot of confusion. You remember that you have survived uncertainty before. You remember that your worth does not disappear just because someone was inconsistent with it. You remember that the soul can learn without dramatizing every chapter into destiny. And here is the deeper truth waiting under all of this. The right people do not only feel magnetic, they feel truthful. They do not only awaken longing, they deepen trust. They do not only stir your heart, they make your life more honest. You do not leave interactions with them feeling like you need to decode your place. You feel more like yourself, not less, more grounded, not more scrambled, more open, not more desperate. Even when timing is imperfect, there is a quality of sincerity that does not ask you to betray your own knowing. That is important, because many people have been taught to focus only on being chosen. Very few were taught to ask whether the connection itself is healthy, mutual, and emotionally sustainable. So they keep chasing the feeling of being special to someone while ignoring the cost to their peace. They keep trying to become unforgettable instead of asking whether the experience itself is nourishing. They keep waiting for intensity to mature into consistency while their own clarity stands in the doorway like a patient friend saying, "Are we done here?" This is where healing becomes practical again. When someone meaningful enters your life, let them be meaningful. But do not let meaning outrank evidence. Let the encounter open you, but do not let it unground you. Let the lesson land, but do not turn the lesson into a prison. You can appreciate the role a person played without assigning them permanent access to your emotional home. That is the real transformation, not becoming detached, becoming discerning. And discerning people are not bitter. They are simply less available for confusion. They know that a calm connection may feel less dramatic at first because the nervous system is no longer being flung across the room by old patterns. They know that steadiness can feel unfamiliar when chaos once felt like love. They know that mutuality is not boring, it is sacred. It is what lets tenderness grow roots instead of just sparks. So when life sends the right people at the right moment, the question is not only who are they? The deeper question is, who are you becoming through the encounter? Are you becoming smaller, needier, more uncertain, more split from yourself? Or are you becoming clearer, kinder, more honest, more willing to trust what peace feels like? Because the right moment is not just about romance, it is about readiness. It is about what your soul can finally recognize. It is about the season in which a certain mirror, lesson, boundary, friendship, stranger, or goodbye can finally teach you what earlier versions of you were not yet able to receive. Timing is not always about reward. Sometimes it is about ripen. And once you understand that, you stop asking life to give you only what feels good. You begin asking for what reveals truth, that changes your entire relationship to love, friendship, endings, beginnings, and even loneliness. Loneliness becomes less like punishment and more like space where your inner hearing returns. Endings become less like erasure and more like completion. New arrivals become less like rescue and more like information. You become steadier, softer too, because now you know that the universe does not need to prove its care by making every person stay. Sometimes it shows care by sending exactly the interaction that breaks a pattern you would have lived inside for another 10 years. Sometimes grace arrives as comfort. Sometimes it arrives as disruption. Sometimes it arrives as an encounter that shakes loose the part of you that has been settling for too little. That is still grace. Even if you cried, even if you misunderstood it at first, even if part of you still wishes the story had ended differently, you can honor that wish without building your life inside it. You can miss what might have been and still bless what was. You can feel tenderness for the version of you who wanted more and still choose not to chase an unfinished echo. That choice is powerful. Not loud, not dramatic, just powerful. And maybe that is the quiet miracle here. Not that every right person stays forever, but that every true encounter has the capacity to return you to yourself if you let it, to your standards, to your body, to your discernment, to your tenderness, to the kind of love that is not obsessed with being kept, but devoted to being honest. So if someone came and went, and part of you is still asking why, breathe here. Maybe they came to remind you that your heart still works. Maybe they came to expose a hunger that needed your care, not their presence. Maybe they came to show you what kind of love leaves you restless, and what kind of love you are no longer willing to call beautiful just because it is intense. Maybe they came on time, not for the future you imagined, for the truth you were finally ready to live. Hold that gently. You do not need to force meaning, you only need to become available to it. Meet what comes with honesty. Notice what it awakens with compassion. Narrow your focus to what is real with courage. That is the moment mirror method. And if this landed somewhere quiet and deep in you, stay with that feeling. Let it settle. Let it soften the old story that says every ending means you were not enough. Let it remind you that the right people for your life will not require you to betray your peace in order to keep the connection alive. They will not need you to disappear to make room for them. They will not ask you to live on interpretation alone. And until they arrive, your life is not on hold. Your worth is not delayed. Your heart is not behind. You are being prepared by every honest thing you are willing to see. You are being guided each time you choose clarity over craving. You are being protected each time you stop worshiping what confuses you. Trust that. The right people are not only those who stay, they are also the ones who teach you how to stop abandoning yourself. And the right moment is not always the one that gives you what you wanted. Sometimes it is the one that gives you back your own clear, steady, beautiful heart.